Because in many respects, I have more hair than he does. Not in all respects. Is that better?
Hmm?
That's not on. Maybe this will be on.
One of them is on. Wait. That one's on. Okay.
Is this one on?
That's right.
I don't hear it. Okay. Just a minute, I have to stick this thing in my brain.
You know, I'm the most sensitive one in the place.
But of course, none of us are telling you to stick it in your ear.
All right, smart Alec, turn it on.
Oh. Hey, microphone.
You like it when I do that?
It's turned on.
Is that on? Is this on? Can you hear now?
Does everybody hear me, Mike?
Let's see if this is. Is this on?
It is.
Oh.
Does everybody hear me, Mike? Thus concludes the mic check.
We have a Slovakian mic and a Czech one too. A Czech one too.
All right, so we're going to take that out.
Thank you for attending this evening's dad joke seminar. This is John. I'm Todd. We're here all week.
We're playing the big room.
We are.
All right, so now you should be able to hear. Very good, very good. Rabbi Komarovsky is stuck in Charlotte, in the airport in Charlotte.
Turn yourself off.
I did?
You just turn yourself off.
Todd?
I'm coming back to the rescue here.
You're right.
There you go.
I'm on again?
You're on again.
Good now. No, don't touch.
With
Thank
any,
you,
with any
Lucas.
luck, it'll stay there.
I appreciate that. Don't touch.
Don't sneeze.
That's going to be hard because I brought a cold back from overseas.
Well, crap.
So, ladies and gentlemen, because Rabbi Komarovsky is off in another airport, it is my pleasure to step up to the bima and to lead services. We're going to begin this evening with an old standard, one that is a favorite of so many of you, well, some of you, from the Psalms, Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad, how good and how pleasant it is when brethren dwell together in peace.
And the sister-in as well.
Sister-in as well. We continue now on pages 2 and 3 as we kindle Shabbat light, welcoming the Sabbath bride into our midst. There you go. You know, when you can't see, there you go. Shall we join in the bracha? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. The cup of sweetness with prayers for the sweetness of rest and the sweetness of the week to come. We join in Kiddush, which you'll find on page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kadsha be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziyat Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'otanu kidashta mikol hayamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah mikadesh hashabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Very nice. Very nice indeed.
Thursday a good year for the Manischewitz?
Yes, absolutely. They're still in business. All right. Let us now continue. You'll have to forgive me for a moment. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. So let us now continue on pages 20 and 21, where we will find Lecha Dodi. And Lecha Dodi, as we normally do, is verses 1, 2, 3, 5, and 9. And I invite you to join Todd Kotler, the famous troubadour.
Lecha Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor zachor b'dibor echad hishme'anu el hamichad Adonai echad u'shmo echad v'shem tiferet v'hitila lecha dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela. Lekrat Shabbat, lekrat Shabbat, penei Shabbat nikabela. Lekrat Shabbat, lechu v'necha, ki mekor habracha, mirosh mekedem nesechucha, sof masach bezmacha v'hitila. Lekrat Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela. Lekrat Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nikabela. Hitori, Hitori, Kiva Orechumini, Uri, Uri, Shedabari, Kivod Adonai, Nigila, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat
Verse 9.
Nikabela. Viv Shalom Aret Kala, Gam B'Simcha Uzahala, Tochemene Am Segula, Boi Chala, Boi Chala, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nikabela, Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Penei Shabbat Nikabela.
We continue on page 26 with the Chetzi Kaddish. V'yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba.
Amen.
Amen. V'yalma divarach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizman kariv, v'yimeru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach, le'alam ulol me'almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitrumam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei l'kudisha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiram le'alma, v'yimeru, amen. Page 28, the Baruch Hu, our call to prayer.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
And you may be seated. Shall we join in the English at the bottom of page 30? Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, then arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light,
transforming day into night, and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually for us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
Baruch atah Adonai, ma'ariv aravim. And now let us turn to page 34 and 35. And we rise once more for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated. Please join me in the V'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha b'shinyantam levanecha v'dibartam bam, v'shivtecha b'betecha, uv'lechtecha b'derech, uv'shavtecha uv'kumecha, uv'kshartom liota yadecha, v'hayu l'totafot beinenecha, uv'karvatam al mezuzot beitecha, uv'isharecha, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי וחייתם קדושים לכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Please join me on page 37 in the English. Love your God with every heartbeat,
with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work. Whether you are tired or you are rested, let them guide the work of your hands.
God led us out of Egypt, brought us to the Sea of Reeds, the Red Sea, and we sang this song of victory on page 40, Michamocha.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha neder ba'kodesh, Torah tehilo, Torah tehilo, Sefer. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha neder ba'kodesh, Torah tehilo, Torah tehilo, Sefer. And the river is wide, and the river is deep, and the river is standing between you and me, and freedom, freedom, but we shall overcome one day. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha neder ba'kodesh, Torah tehilo, Torah tehilo, Sefer. And the river is fear, and the river is hate, and the river is standing between us and the gates of freedom, freedom, but we shall overcome one day. With a tambourine in a mighty hand, across the sea and the desert sand, let the children sing for Miriam next year in the promised land. Next year in the promised land. Next year in the promised land. Next year in the promised land.
So, Mr. Kotler, are we going to do Vishamru, or are we going to do Yismachu?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's why I asked it.
Yeah. Let's do Yismachu.
Okay, please turn to page 44, and at the bottom of the page, let us read the translation of Yismachu, and then Mr. Kotler will elevate us with the music.
We'll do something anyway.
Yeah, something like that. Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. The people that have Shabbat will delight in your goodness. For you bring the drawing our relations. Achshav.
All right. Yismechu b'malachutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malachutecha shomrei 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 Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshei Shvi Shabbat Kulam Yismechu Shabbat Yismechu b'malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Yismechu b'malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat V'yashi Yitzaviyah V'yadabaviyah Shabbat Emad Yamim Yom Tokara Shabbat Yismechu V'malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Yismechu b'malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Zecher l'maseh v'reshit Shabbat Zecher l'maseh v'reshit Shabbat Yismechu b'malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Yismechu b'malachutecha Shomrei 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 Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat.
Please turn now to page 46 and let us rise to begin the tefillah, the central prayer of our service.
Adonai sefatai tiftachu fiyahi tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 48. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Lekonei Hakol, V'zocher chasdei avot v'imahot U'mei g'ula livnei v'neihem L'man shemo b'yahava Melech ozer u'moshia u'magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Saram Atah gibor le'olam Adonai Mechayei ha'torat ha'rav l'shia Mori ha'tal Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechaye HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umakayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'al Gevurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Merit, Umachayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'hakol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Hakol, Atah Kadosh B'Shimcha Kadosh, Ukadoshim B'chol Yom Yahalalucha Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. We may be seated. We spend a few moments of silent prayer, after which we'll join together in singing Oseh Shalom, yes? Sounds good.
Yes. The Oaks arrangement.
Please turn now in your prayer books to page 253. We gather together as a community of faith and we raise our voices in prayer on behalf of those who have asked for our prayers for healing. At this particular time, we say, Misha Berach Avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Hu Yivarech et HaCholim Ha'ela. May God, who was the blesser of our ancestors, bring blessing to these individuals who are ill. Bob Barnett, Alan Brockman, Mike Carbone, Sandy Dopkins, Kathy Federico, Jim France, Valerie Frank, Robert Friedman, Jeremy Giddis, Alex Goldstein, Clara Gilliams, Joel David Harris, Jillian Hartman, Elizabeth Hyder, Ethan Kadish, Nathan Kinnick, Tyler Kinnick, Kristen Kinnick, Richard Lair, Martin Levin, Jody Lakshan, Judine Luntz, Marshall Markowitz, Billy Miller, Rick Monsell, Eric Nussbaum, Betul Azmat, David Poole, Samantha Rishfit, Ruth Rothman, Carol Rubin, Mark Sirac, Sharon Smith, Dave Somerville, Kelly Swab, Barbara Turkeltaub, Kristen Turner, Fan Walker, David Waltz, Malka Wayne, Florence Weaver, P.J. Wells, and Bruce White. Is there any other name that you'd like to mention in the congregation?
Bill Bowers, as well as Chris Knight as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We join in singing Misha Beirach.
Misha Beirach, Avotenu, Mikor HaBracha, Naimotenu, may the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Beirach, Imotenu, Mekor HaBracha, Avotenu, bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Please now turn to page 259 and let us rise for the prayer for the state of Israel. Avinu Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Geulatenu, Hagein Aleha Ba'avrat Chastecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha. O Heavenly Father, protect and redeem our land of Israel. Bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of our hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. And we join together and say, Amen. Amen.
Turn the page.
$374.
374, so we turn several pages. Thank you, Todd.
Almost at the very end of the book, and then we'll have to turn back. Here we are. A little Hatikva.
374? Oh, 374.
374. You know you don't
Well,
need
this
that. You
part
know the
is
words.
pre-state. You see, now I got to turn to where the state comes in.
That's it.
Kol od b'levav penima nefesh Yehudi homiyah.
Aleinu, Eretz Zion,
V'Yerushalayim, Lihiot Am Chofshi, Be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion, Yerushalayim. And you may be seated. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I need to tell you how uplifting it is to be in this prayer space with people that I know who join in song and prayer and help to welcome Shabbat. I really was pretty sick today. I spent the whole day just sitting, looking at the wall. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare anything because Rabbi Komarovsky just was in touch with me last night that he was not going to be able to be here. But walking in and being able to join in singing, I haven't coughed as much, and it feels marvelous. So thank you very much for your presence. And I hope that you have gotten that sense of Shabbat's peace by being here as well. So I could have probably have said, I didn't have much time to prepare, so I'm not going to do nothing, and you probably would have applauded. Because there's nothing worse than a rabbi who just starts out from the beginning and doesn't really know where it's going to go. But then I figured I'd like to share with you a variety of things that led up to a meeting that we had yesterday evening. And you might notice this is not my regular talit. It certainly is very orange. And so I'd like to tell you the story of this talit, where it came from and why we have it. And in doing so, to share a little bit of Torah about our Bible. We know that we don't call our Bible the Old Testament. It is for us the only Testament. It is the Hebrew Testament. Some Christians will say it's the First Testament, suggesting that they have the Second Testament. And that's fine. They certainly can do that. But our Bible is the First Testament. And you probably know that you can refer to our Bible by an acronym that is formed by the first letters of each of the sections. And that word is Tanakh. You know it's an acronym because when you see it, you see Tav, Nun, and then these two little strokes that says, by the way, this is an abbreviation. And then the at the end. The T of Tanakh stands for Torah. And we know that Torah is made up of 5 books. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, which is the common English names for those books. Some people say actually the Torah was really only 4 books. That Deuteronomy really belongs as a transitional book to the next part, but we're just going to leave it with the first 5 books. The next part of the Torah is called Nevi'im, the prophets. And the prophets are interesting because when you look, I got out my trusty art scroll Tanakh, and I did that because, you know, art scroll is obviously the sine qua non. That's not Hebrew. It's obviously. I'm going to turn to the table of contents, and we see here in the section on Torah, we see the various books, the 5 books that I mentioned to you, and then over here we see the section on the prophets, the Nevi'im. And the prophets really are divided into a number of sections. Sometimes we talk about the Rishonim and Acharonim, the Rishonim from Rosh, the early prophets, the head prophets, and the Acharonim, the latter prophets, the later prophets. And we don't make that division because the earlier prophets were closer to God and the latter prophets were distant, or the early prophets were more truthful than the latter prophets, but only because the early prophets, the Rishonim, have large books. When you look at books like Isaiah, for example, it's a large book, has many chapters and many pages. And the Acharonim follow that. And then after the Rishonim and the Acharonim comes something in the Nevi'im, and it's called the Trei Asar. It means the 12. And there are 12 prophets that are in the Trei Asar. And they are pretty much a smaller number. Where's my glass here? They're smaller books. You'll recognize the books like Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk. You got a Habakkuk? Zephaniah, and so on over here. Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. Those 12 brief books are called the Trei Asar. And they're equally as important as the Rishonim and the Acharonim. We don't put them together because they're not important at all. We put them together because tradition has these short books. Perhaps they could be written on one scroll. It could be. And we know that there are some really important phrases that we pick out of all of those prophets. So even in the Trei Asar, we have the shortest book of the Bible, which is Obadiah. It's only one chapter long. He must have broken his pencil when he was writing, I don't know. But I settled on Malachi. Obadiah means the Eved Adonai, the servant of God. Malachi means my messenger, almost like an angel. So here's why I tell you this all about Malachi right now. I got to find out where that is. Well, I know it anyway. Rabbi Komorowski, John Spira, and I are part of a growing organization which is the Interfaith Coalition Against Gun Violence. We have been meeting for a little over a year with a variety of people. It started, first of all, when Pax Christi, which is a Catholic social justice organization, it's a national organization and it has a chapter here in town, saw our gun signs. You know our gun signs that we have outside the building here, and you see it when you look at tidbits. And they thought that that was a pretty good way to focus attention on what it was all about in terms of the growing number of gun deaths in our country. So they called me up and they said, would you like to be a part of this? And I said, for sure. Because I believe that not in taking guns away from people, but I believe in responsible gun ownership. So we began meeting, this group of Pax Christi and a Jew or two. We began meeting in the library here. We provided the place to convene those meetings. And as time went on, we began to realize that the thing that was missing from us is we didn't have any Islamic presence. Well, I knew a couple Muslims in the area and put out a feeler or two, and we now have a couple Muslims who come and sit with us. One is the I guess you would call him the public relations director for the Islamic Society of Northeastern Ohio. His name is Mustafa, and he started coming to our meetings. This is before October 7th, and I gotta tell you that there has not been a word spoken that was disparaging or accusatory. We are working on a project together, and it's a good relationship that we have. So we've got now Muslims, we have Catholics, we have Protestants of various stripes. And we began to meet to try to decide what we as a faith community, not as a political community, but a faith community, could do to bring our institutions together, to bring the power of religious faith communities together to try to have an impact on gun violence. And it's everything from trying to lobby in Columbus about red flag laws, for example, to providing assistance to families that are affected by gun violence and so on. In the course of these conversations, there was an Episcopal priest. Her name is Rosalind Hughes, and she has a church up in Euclid. And she started making these stoles, not with stars on them, not with tzitzit on them, but stoles. Why orange? Some years ago, there was a young woman who I think was in her late teens, who happened to go to the Obama inauguration, and a few days later, she was killed by a stray bullet. So her classmates, her friends, teenagers, began to come together and decided to adopt this symbol of orange. Do we have any hunters here?
I don't know what you're getting at.
I'm sorry?
I think I know what you're getting at with the orange.
Tell us, will you, Lucas?
Orange is used for hunting. It is a symbol for people that don't shoot other hunters.
Yeah, don't shoot. Very good. So she began making these orange stoles as a symbol of don't shoot. And I looked at those stoles and I said, what would happen if we took those stoles and got some grommets on the end and tied some tzitzit on it? We could make a talit out of it. And then it seemed to me we could take these stoles, it's a Protestant stole, and put the cross on it, and it could be worn in Methodist, Presbyterian, all kinds of churches. And then I spoke to our friend, the imam of the Northeast Ohio mosque out by the Strip, and he said, well, we can't wear these long ones because we get down on the ground. We need something shorter. So we made these short ones with the star and the crescent. But taking a cue from my father's sample box, he used to go to show his wares. If you put a cross on it, Christians can wear it. So I can show them, the or the, which is better, this side or that side. And then this is a deacon's stole, because the deacons wear their stoles across their body. So this is set up for that. I got some more stuff here, but essentially it was beginning to think about how we could use this symbol to unite our community. We've taken a couple pictures. Father Ed Keck, who happens to be a disabled Catholic priest, he's in a wheelchair, so he wears one. Reverend Dr. Robin, I just forgot her name, that's not good. She is the priest in charge of the Episcopal Church downtown. She was wearing a stole. My friend, the Imam Jafar Juma from the Muslim mosque, he was wearing a stole. And we were all together at the end of one of our workshops, and they took a picture of the four of us. Now, what a powerful picture that was. People who didn't normally talk to each other, see each other, especially the Islamic community. The Islamic community, and they've told us, is small, and it's kind of frightening for them to get out in public there. But they felt comfortable enough to wear the stoles with the rest of us. So, that's where these stoles come from. And now here's the big deal. On June 6th, which is a Thursday, I believe, at 4 o'clock down in Centennial Plaza, there is going to be a community prayer service for Wear Orange. And we'll all be there, and we're encouraging members of various congregations to buy their pastors, their imams, their rabbis a stole so that we can be down there wearing our orange vestments. And I think it's pretty neat. John Spira has brought his expertise. Can I tell them what you do? John, is that okay? Sure. I'm glad you said that. You know, John is a gun owner, and he's a responsible gun owner. And he presented, for example, a program with Les Marino, one of our safety officers, to the congregation on gun safety. You know, what are these various firearms? What do they look like? How do they operate? What do you do if you find one on the ground? And this is especially important for children, because they might certainly pick it up and say, I wonder what this is, and they could have an accidental shooting and so on. So we're starting to develop a whole variety of programs that congregations and people can use to raise awareness about gun violence, about the proper use and storage of weapons, and to bring us together as a community to reduce gun violence in our midst. So I would certainly hope that some of you might find your way down to the square on June 6th and be with us as we put our arms around the interfaith community who are united in this concept of gun violence. And why? I started out talking about prophets. He's going to conclude now with talking about prophets. It's very, very clever. In the prophet Malachi, in the second chapter, the 11th verse, you can tell I've been around some Christian clergy a little bit. In the second chapter, the 11th verse, we have a saying that I'm sure that you will know. Have we not all one Father? Hath not one God created us? Why then do we deal treacherously, brother against brother? You'll forgive the gendered language, I hope. But in essence, that creates, that one sentence is one of the great fundamental questions that we have to face. If we are all one family, and Judaism believes that, we have a number of midrashim that talk about how human beings came into being. And it's always that we came into being at one time as one family. The question then becomes, why do we deal treacherously? And we can think of many answers. Poverty, the breakdown of the family, greed. And there are many, many different kinds of answers. Gun violence is but one, and it's one that we hopefully will be able to have some impact on. So I hope to see you down on the square wearing orange on June 6th. Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom. I need to have a president here because he might be armed.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
First of all, I have to thank Rabbi Spitzer for pinch hitting on such short notice. When we were at the meeting last night that Rabbi was referring to, I got the text message from Rabbi Komorowski saying that he wouldn't be there. He was detained. And when I went and talked to Rabbi Spitzer about it, he hadn't read his text message yet. And so he was kind of shocked and surprised. Thank you again. And Todd, thank you for your music this evening. We appreciate it. Stolen Moments will meet tomorrow morning. And don't forget, tomorrow night is the Brotherhood Revenge Raffle. Those of you who bought tickets, good luck to me. And mark your calendars for June 21st. That's Rabbi's 25th celebration, which will be, and you have to sign up for that. Then June 23rd is at 11 o'clock is our annual meeting, so please make sure you register to come to that. Rabbi Spitzer mentioned the June 6th Wear Orange project. He failed to mention that's a national day. So there will not just be Canton, but there will be a lot of other organizations all over the country who'll be wearing orange. So Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Pull. Thank you.
I don't think we should be saying that like right after talking about shooting.
Now I've messed up my reading stand. I have to find what goes where. So be patient. Don't speak among yourselves. So this looks like that.
So are we on page 282, Rabbi?
Well, sure. Page 282, is that the Elena?
Why not?
All right, if that's the Elena, that means you have to rise.
That's it.
Page 282, please rise for the Elena.
Really, the kid in his early 20s is complaining about standing up. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gila l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'gei haratzon, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goralenu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Please turn to page 294. At this point in our service, we remember those of our loved ones who have passed from this world. We reverently mention the names of Faye Berger, Goldie Bertman, William P. Eby, Anne Freed, Myron Albert Friedman, Larry Green, Jean Half Greenberger, Esther May Grossman, Milton L. Hirschheimer, Louis Hoykowitz, Suzanne Sirac, Illingworth, Avram Kaminsky, Joseph Joey Karam, Sherry Kitson, Clarence Julius Layton, Fanny Love, Sidney Mandel, Joan Manning, Sanders Mistel, Paul Myers, Irving A. Miller, Ruth Barnett Nethero, Catherine Nielsen Ross, Barry Roberts, Manny Smith, and Sadie Stein. Are there any other people who have yahrzeits this evening? Do you want to mention names? Thank you. The Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divarach yerutei v'yamlich malchut